You're listening to Guitar Goddess Radio with Ezina, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, hello, hello. Ezina here, and today we've got an incredible show for you. We have Katie Ferrara in the studio, who's a singer-songwriter with an extraordinary journey and amazing stories to tell. She started off in busking on the streets of LA, and her first big gig, listen to this, her first big gig was at the Hollywood Bowl. Hello? Yeah, Hollywood Bowl, playing with Barbra Streisand, and she sang along with Barbra Streisand, Anne Hathaway, and Josh Groban. And she also was flown to New Zealand to perform after being one of the winners of the Toyota Feeling the Street competition. Katie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
Wow, what an incredible, I can't wait to dig in. This is awesome.
Yeah.
You're starting it right. You're starting off at the Hollywood Bowl. I love it, love it, love it.
Yeah,
So-
I actually just put that in my bio because I submitted it to a magazine, and I thought of it because when I was 17, I was in my choir, and it was part of my choir. We were asked to sing for Stephen Sondheim's. It was his 75th birthday, and they had all sorts of celebrities there: Barbra Streisand, Anne Hathaway, Josh Groban. And so my choir, we were asked to sing on stage in front of there's 10,000 people.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! What a way to start your career.
Yeah.
I mean, you were busking on the street in L.A., but and I want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
You know, because you've done. In just this short amount of time in your career, you've kind of gone where most people, it takes them years to achieve. So tell me, how did you start busking on the street, and how did that lead to the Hollywood Bowl?
Well, the Hollywood Bowl, that was actually before.
It was before.
Yeah, it was when I was 17.
God. Okay,
yeah.
so it's backwards. So
Yeah.
you started at the Hollywood Bowl, and then you went to the street. That's
Yeah.
just nuts.
Yeah. That was the first big gig I had music, and then I went to college. I didn't think I would do music. I mean,
Really?
I studied psychology, and I thought,
You need that in this business.
You do need it in the business. But while I was at college, I started, learning guitar and writing songs, and I loved singing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was always told, well, you need to get a real job. You can't do music for a living. You're not going to be able to, make a living doing it. And I don't know. I kept doing it because I had a lot of fun writing, and
Yeah.
I would after I graduated, I went to England, and I lived there for a couple years. And I met a producer, and we worked on my music. And then I started thinking hey, I could do this. I recorded my original music, and I started playing in venues, but nobody would show up.
Oh, the trouble in the beginning.
I would get 5 people showing up, and I came back to LA, and I played in places like House of Blues. I played in the Key Club, and the places on the Sunset Strip. I played Silver Lake Lounge, and it was hard to get people out, and I felt embarrassed calling myself a musician because I wasn't making money doing what I loved, and I had these songs, and nobody was listening to them. So I kind of I was about to quit, and then I thought, I should do something differently. Where can I go where I'm going to be heard? And I saw some people playing out in the Santa Monica Promenade, and I thought I could do that. I could go out there. So I made a New Year's resolution. This was in 2014. I was okay, I'm gonna start from January 1st, just busk on the Santa Monica Promenade. And the first time I did it, I made $100. And
That's awesome.
I was whoa, this is so cool. This is the most money I've made from my music.
That's great. That's great.
So I kept doing it.
Yeah.
And I just thought, okay, well, this is one way where I can share my music with people and feel appreciated. And I stopped doing like the shows on the Sunset Strip. I stopped like selling tickets to promoters. Like I think that's like a big deal in LA where you have a lot of like songwriters that really just want to play, but they don't really know how to start or where to build a fan base. And so you get promoters who are like, oh, I'll help promote you, but they don't actually do that.
Right,
you
right.
actually do all the promoting,
Exactly.
and then they pocket all the money.
Absolutely. Sell all the tickets. If you sell 50 tickets, we'll give you 15 minutes on the stage.
Exactly.
Oh, this is so great.
Yeah. It's a privilege to play in some of these venues.
Right. Oh my. Well, and then they throw your gear on the street afterwards. I'll never forget that at the Whiskey. I played this to a packed house, and then I'm looking for all my gear, and it's on the sidewalk.
Oh
and
my
I'm
God.
Like, okay, this is how you operate. I'm done with the strip. I mean, we love the Whiskey, but if you're not a star, you need to, you have to pay your dues, and your gear will be on the sidewalk.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So busking, how many days a week did you do that? Were you out there like every day? Did you set hours? How does that work?
I'm doing it less and less, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm kind of like moving on to like more gigs, and like I play in like a lot of hotels and restaurants and doing collaborations, like co-writes, but I still go out in the street. And when I first started, I would go out 4 or 5 days a week. I treated it like a full-time job.
Oh, that's awesome.
I go out to the promenade. I'd set up. I go like either in the morning or like on the weekend. There's like specific times of day to go like that are good. Like I would find that like Sunday mornings were good, or like Thursday, Friday evenings. Anytime where like people are getting off work, and I would do 2 sets. The slots on the promenade are they're 2 hours long.
Okay.
And so you have to show up like 15 minutes before you start, and it's like first come first serve. So if you
interesting.
Don't get there in time, like somebody else could just take the spot. So after you finish your 2-hour set, you have to move 150 feet away from where you first set up. And there's designated spots. They give you a map when you get your permit to play out there. They give you a map where you can set up and play. You can also play on the pier. So like I was doing that a lot last year. I first started with the promenade, and then I went to the pier. And then I started going to different places in LA. Like I noticed that there's a lot of people playing out on the promenade. I think because it's very touristy and there's a lot of foot traffic there. But, I started going to different farmers markets in LA, like the Topanga Vintage Market, Melrose Trading Post, like Altadena, Monrovia. I don't know. I did a lot of research online. I was like, where else can I busk in LA that's different from the promenade? And so I still do this. I kind of book it in advance. I tell the market manager, like, hey, can I play on this specific date? And treat it like a job, basically.
I love
my
that.
hours, and I play for a specific amount of time. I take the time to drive to the gig. It kind of like busking for me kind of set up a way for me to become like an independent I guess contractor, independent, like entertainer, where like I had a certain amount of hours I would work a day, and I'd figure out what my expenses were, and like I'd have a strategy. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to sell this amount of CDs a day, or make this amount of tips, and I'll stay in one spot until I make a certain amount of money. That's kind of like how I treated it. But yeah, I started out doing 4 or 5 days, and then I just from busking, I started getting booked for like better gigs, booked for private events, just corporate events as well. People passing by on the promenade or at these markets, they'll see me, they'll say, hey, do you want to play for my kid's birthday party? And that's just like another way to get to know people and get your name out there. So yeah, I do a lot of private events now, actually. And
I love that because, you don't really think about that as you're walking along the promenade. And I have to say, there's incredible music that you hear on the promenade, or, you hear downtown now as well, because I've been going down there lately. You hear these amazing musicians, but you never think about the end game, that this could turn into something bigger.
Yeah.
So you're really like promoting yourself, you're getting paid to promote yourself.
Yeah.
And, people are hearing your music and buying it, and that's just really great.
Yeah.
And I love that not only have you done this, but you also wrote a book about it, Stories from the Street, which is available. You guys need to check this out, where you talk about, like, what you learned on the street and, how other people can do this as well.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to do the book? Was it just to share? Was it just...
A little bit of all of the above.
Okay.
So originally, I did a Kickstarter for my EP Dreamcatcher.
Okay.
And one of the rewards was like a 10-page storybook, just for one of my fans that had donated towards the making of the CD. And I sat down at my computer one day and I just started writing, and I just couldn't stop writing. I had so much to say. And so I was like, oh, this is 20 pages long, 30 pages. Oh, wow, there's like 60 pages here. And then 80 pages. And then I had like all these pictures, and I thought, I should share this with people, because I feel like this could be like really inspiring and really helpful to other people. And I thought about writing a book, like a how-to for like street performance and busking, but I feel like everybody's experience is different. And I thought what was really valuable is just sharing my specific experiences and what I learned from that. Because it's not just about like the type of gear that you should buy. It's not just about, strategies to make the most amount of money. Like for me, like I learned a lot about just like how to be a good person, how to, make connections with people. And, like some of the things, like I put a story in there about, I was in Burbank, and there was a woman that came by and she was homeless, and she was like, oh, she put money in my bucket. And I felt bad, because I was like, well, she doesn't have any money. Why is she giving me money when she doesn't have anything? And I just felt like, okay, she wanted to thank me because she was able to get to sleep at night. She couldn't sleep at all, and all I had to do was sing. Like I gave her the money back. I said, you need this more than me. I can't take this from you. And the next day she put the money back in my pocket. She's like, no, take this. And it made me think, sometimes it's not about money. Sometimes people just really want to have a connection. They really just want to feel loved. And for her, like when she heard me singing, like she just felt like she could go to sleep and felt like safe, and like a place where she could just, feel safe. So I put that in there. The other stuff that I've learned about music, just standing up for yourself. I think like, as a female musician, or just, as a musician in general, we get walked over a lot. And, like I was mentioning before, like the promoters in the clubs, like making musicians feel like, it's a privilege to play in their clubs. You have to know when is a good deal and when one isn't, and you have to know what you want. And I think it's really important, like, to know, sometimes you're going to have gigs where you're not going to get paid, but then there's other perks that you get out of it. Like, you're going to meet important people, or maybe there's photos or video content, or maybe there's an opportunity to collaborate, like open mics, for example. Like I know a lot of people go to open mics, and sometimes they treat it like a talent show, like who's the best person.
Exactly.
And really, like, the point of an open mic is to like network with all the people around you. Maybe you want to write from that. But like stuff like that, I put in the book. I had an experience at a market where like I thought I couldn't play there. I showed up, like, it was funny because I was playing at the Kaiser Permanente Farmers Market, and one of the vendors was like, oh, you should play at the Hollywood Farmers Market. They would really like you over there. And so I show up and I talk to the market manager, and she's like, no, you can't play. And I had brought all my stuff with me. I brought this cart full of like all my gear, dragged it along. She just says, no amplification, and we already have performers. And I'm just like, okay, I'm going to go to my car and go home. And then I don't know, I kind of just thought, no, I'll just find a spot and just act like I know what I'm doing, and just set up. And I like talk to the guy. This guy like sells carrots.
Yeah.
He sells like vegetables. And I talked, his name is Eddie, and I was like, Eddie, she won't let me play. And he's like, no, you should just set up in that spot over there and just play. And I'm like, okay. So I set up, and she walks by and she's like, oh yeah, you sound really good. And I'm like, wait,
what were you thinking? Wait, you just said no, and now you're like applauding and putting money in my bucket.
I know. So then it becomes more than just like playing the music. I feel like that experience for me was about standing up for myself, and me writing about that in that book. Like, I hope that like inspires other people. Like, if you ever get in a situation where you're like told that you can't play, or you're told that you can't do something, there's always a way around it. There's always a way around it. There's always another solution. And I feel like the book is about like really like going for your dreams and not giving up, and finding a way just to like share. Like, when I started playing out in the street, like I really just wanted to sing. I just wanted a place where I could share my music and be heard by people. And that's why I kept doing it. And I think that people will read this, or people come up to me and they're like, okay, so I should street perform. Like, I tell them like, well, no, like you need to find like your own path. And I think that's so important in the music industry today, finding things that you're passionate about and finding places where there's a need for music. Like, I started on the promenade, but I was like, there's so many performers here. Like, why should I be just one out of all these different people? Where are there places in LA that really need music? And so I think about, what about schools? Like, what about, like communities where there's events, but there's no music there, like these street fairs and markets. What about, community center? Like, there's just old folks' homes,
It's endless. And you're just touching on such a great point, because a lot of people, when I talk to them, they're like, oh, I can't find any gigs. And I'm like, there's gigs everywhere. There's gigs everywhere. There's a gig here. There's a gig over in the corner. There's a gig, like you said, there's so many different events. There's, wine tastings. There's art galleries. There's, private events. There's, alumni clubs. There's, it's endless. So if you want to perform, like Katie's saying, like, just find your path and go for it, because there's so many avenues. Yeah. And thank you so much for writing this book. This is so great. This is so great. And I just love the image on it as well. You guys, you got to go get it. Tell us the link where we can get the book. It's Lulu.
It's lulu.com/spotlight/stories from the street. So Lulu.com is a distributor. They publish independent authors. They're kind of like the CD baby of authors. Like, I come from like a music world, and so when I found out about that website, I was like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't know that like you didn't. I don't have a publisher. Like, I self-published that book through their website. So they're distributing my book. If you'd like a copy, again, that's lulu.com, lulu.com/spotlight/stories from the street. And there's 2 different copies of the book. There's a color copy and then a black and white one. The color one's a little bit more money because it's more to print. And there's also an ebook. So if you don't have a lot of money, an ebook's only $10, and you can read that on your iPhone.
Exactly. And if you guys sign up on guitargoddess.com in our newsletter, we are going to be giving one away. Yeah. So make sure you sign up on our newsletter, and you can get a chance to win one. But if you don't win it, make sure you go and buy it. This is really awesome, and you should have it. It just has such great information. Now, I want to switch to your music.
Yeah.
You have a new project. It's called Dreamcatcher. Yeah. And we're going to hear one of the songs right now from Dreamcatcher. We're going to hear Jackets. Tell us a little bit about that song.
So Jackets is a song, I actually started it when I was in college, and I brought it back recently when I was making the CD, because I've written so many songs, and I just thought, like, actually this is a good song. I really like the guitar hook on it, and I like the concept behind it. Like, I was in a situation where I had to choose between, being in a relationship and going for my career, and it's kind of about that conflict. And you know, I don't know. I think you guys will like it.
Awesome. All right, so we are about to listen to Jackets.
Yeah.
Wow. That was like, I love it. It's like I just saw myself like cruising down like the PCH and like wind in my hair. I love it.
Thank you.
Great. And I love the lyrics as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very personal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, you don't think about an article of clothing. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to keep your jacket, just all the energy of that.
Yeah.
Woo. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about music business.
Yeah.
You know, marketing yourself as an independent artist. We talked about, you know, busking. You know, we talked a little bit about open mics and things. What are some other things that you do to promote yourself? Are you using social media? And how has that affected your fan base growing and what have you?
Yeah, I'm quite a avid user of social media. I'm on Facebook all the time. I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube, Periscope, I use my email list a lot. I really like using social media to tell my story. I think like there's a downside to like I love being on it, but I hate it because I want to have a life.
Right.
You know, and part of myself is like, okay, I just tell myself, you know, you need to post once a day, and here are the things that you need to post, and then you get it done, and you do it. And I love having the ability to control like who I connect with, and you know, because I'm not with a label, like I'm able to promote myself and really reach the audiences that I'd like to connect with. Like nobody's telling me, like nobody's in charge of my music. I am. So you know, I like Instagram because I can post like where I played that day or what I'm doing. Like today I just posted, like, I'm on LA Talk Radio.
Awesome.
And then everybody gets updated who's following me. And then I really like, you know, Facebook and Periscope because you can live stream on there. And the live streaming, it really helps connect with fans on a more like personal level. Because opposed to a picture, like people can ask you questions, like you can play music, you can play like, you know, concerts online for people. YouTube's also really great for just, you know, if you're booking shows. Something I've noticed is if you know, put your videos up that show samples of what you can do for a performance, you know, or it's also a really great way just to put your record up and have people listen. Spotify as well. I mean, there's so many avenues that I like using on social media, but I also don't want to forget like my email list. Like,
yes, that's key.
You know, a lot of people think that you know, your social media is the most important thing, and it's actually pretty funny because I don't know if you know Ari Herstand.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, Ari Herstand has this book, How to Make It in a New Music Business, and I love his book. And he says that actually your social media. The fans on social media, it's like you're renting, but like if you have somebody's email address, you own them.
It's true. You know, I always say about social media to me is like dating. You know, it's like, you know, swipe left, swipe right, you know, but then when someone gets on your list, you know, then you're actually in a relationship. Whereas on social, it's kind of out there.
Well, it's funny because, you know, there's a lot of people who follow on social media, but they might not actually like what you're doing. They're just trying to see what you're up to. Whereas if someone like subscribes to your email list, it's like they want to know, they want to come to your shows, they want to buy whatever you're offering to them. You know, I think that's another thing that I wasn't very good at before was just, you know, my newsletters. I would send them out, but like people wouldn't read them because I didn't have anything interesting to say. So I think, you know, once you have somebody's email, you know, do something different that you're not doing on the social media. Send them something and send them something for free. You know, that's always good. So yeah, I say more than social media, like focus on your email list.
Amen. I've been preaching that for years. Like your email list is your ATM machine. You know, it's your, you know, those are the people who are really interested. You know, they're going to follow you around and want to partake in your journey. So that's pretty cool. And have you found that you've gotten a lot of people from social onto your newsletter list, or are you finding that more people sign up to your newsletter list when you're performing?
From performances, but also from live streams or anytime I sell something online, that's an opportunity for someone to sign up. Like, you know, if people buy your CD off your website and they purchase it like on PayPal, for example, like the person has an email address, you just send them an email, say, hey, would you like to be added to my email address? And I think also like that one-to-one connection is really important.
Absolutely.
Instead of like, there's a lot of companies out there that will spam you with material once you buy something from them. I think it's really important just to like, you know, follow up with people or like say somebody does add you on social media, like just those one-to-one messages of, hey, thanks for following me, nice to meet you, here's some free music, or here's like a sticker or something, you know, just to say thank you. I think, you know, people really value that one-to-one connection because they're not just like another email that's to your list or another person that's added to your fan base.
Absolutely. I think on social media, it's all about the DMs, you know, and really connecting to people through them. I've been amazed at how my business has shifted just by working those DMs.
Yeah.
You know, do you have a platform that you find is more successful than others as far as engaging your fans?
Well, I'm kind of old school, so I like Facebook. Like, I know like a lot of young people are like, oh, it's all about Snapchat and Instagram. Like, I just love Facebook. 'Cause it's like the new like LinkedIn. I feel like.
Yeah, I agree.
It works really well. I think because I've been on it so long that people just know who I am. That and I really like you know, Periscope and the live, being able to talk to people you know, through the live streaming app, because it's so personal and I can really get to know people.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. You know, and also I just want to ask you, like, as you're out busking, you're saying you're meeting all kinds of people. Have you gotten any opportunities with other musicians where they've said, hey, I love your music, I want to co-write with you, or I want to, you're seeing that as well?
Yeah. I get that a lot. You know, I've met a lot of music, like my friend, Joachim, he's a guy from Seattle. Like the first time I was not the first time, but when I was in the Promenade a couple years ago, he was just wandering by, and he says, oh, I really like your music, and we started talking. He's like, I'm from Seattle, but I'm going to be in LA for a little bit, and I like recommended a gig to him, and then we've kept in contact, and he's like, yeah, I want to write with you. So every time I go up and travel, like it's interesting because I meet musicians through performing outdoors, and then I can go, you know, write with them if I travel to, you know, their state or to their country or whatever. You know, people in LA, like I've set up a lot of like co-writing sessions with people. Like there's a woman, actually I didn't meet her out in the street, but when I was in Italy, I joined, it was a Facebook group. And it was a songwriting Facebook group, and she saw that I was a street performer. Her name's June Caravel, and she performs in Paris, so she's a street performer there. Cool. And we started talking about that. We were bonding about that, and then she said, "Oh, like let's co-write a song." And while I was in Italy over the summer, I was playing at a festival there. I was in my hotel room, and I had this like chorus melody. And I was like, oh, it'd be nice to like finish this with someone. So I hit her up. I messaged her, and she's like, hey, let's Skype. And we like finished the song together. I'm like, I can't believe like I just like wrote a song with another busker like over the internet. And now I'm just going to go out and play it. And I like made a video and put it on YouTube. And then all these people heard it. Like it was just really cool that like it happened so quickly. And it's all through like finding like that one thing in common, you know, like we both like playing out in the street, and we made new music.
And I love that, and that you did it over Skype.
Yeah.
I have a funny story. I met a guy, he was playing violin at the Promenade, and I gave him my card. I put my card in his little bucket, and money, of course, and he reached out to me, and he was visiting from South Africa.
Wow.
And I was like, I'd love for you to play violin, you know, on one of my... So he sent me the track.
Wow.
Like, I sent him the track, and then he sent me back his violin part, and I'm just like, this is so cool that I'm, like, making music with someone who lives in South Africa.
Yeah.
That I just, by chance, I had no idea that he lived there, but I just threw my card in there and my money, and boom, you know.
Wow.
So it's really cool, you know, that we're able to do that now. We weren't really able to do it so successfully a few years back.
I like, you know, the connections that I've made with people from different countries. Like I think that's like something really like interesting about the street music community, in that like it's not just one type of music. I mean, there's people who perform and they play African drums or like flute or you know, harp, or like there's just like weird stuff out in the street.
There is. But I love it though.
It's very cultural.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it because, you know, people aren't going to the theater. They're not going out to hear music in this country the way that we used to. Yeah. So at least they're getting some of it, you know, on the street, you know, and I so appreciate that. You know, and I also wonder, like, I'm going to ask you a personal question. As a woman, did you feel safe
Do I feel safe when
do
I
you
perform?
feel safe when you're on the street performing?
I do feel safe.
Okay.
Like I don't feel like I'm like in any danger. I think I get annoyed at like all the guys that hit on me, and I'll post about. I posted the other day on. I was like, oh, this guy came up to me and he's making kissy faces. And
oh my gosh.
I blew up at him, and then someone was like, I'm really worried about you. You shouldn't do that. And like they were right. Like I could have handled that a little bit. I shouldn't have gotten angry. I think that's the hard thing as a woman. It's like I want to be treated with a lot of respect.
Absolutely.
And it's hard not to get emotionally have an emotional reaction to somebody. When it happens a lot. I think just knowing how to respond is the best. But also like I do like to publicize when it happens. Like if somebody comes up to me and they're behaving inappropriately, like I think that does need to be. It should be told. It should be people should be aware of it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
Because it is. I don't feel like I'm in any danger, but I also I think women deserve a lot of respect. And just because I am playing outdoors, it doesn't mean that like people can interrupt me while I'm singing or like touch my body. Like I. No.
Right.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely not.
But that doesn't happen all the time when I'm playing. It doesn't. And I meet a lot of just actually, amazing people. I meet a lot like families. Like they come out and they bring their kids, and the kids like they're like, I want to be like that when I grow up. I want to play guitar. Or they,
That's beautiful.
They really look up to people playing out in the street. I meet a lot of just sometimes just lonely people. Like they just. If I can brighten their day, like I've really just done my job as a musician. I think with any job there's going to be like pros and cons of it. It's just how you react and just staying positive.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you have a song called When Stars Collide, which is kind of what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that song before we set us up?
Yeah, so I like to write a lot about relationships.
I think most women do.
Yeah. Relationships. That song is about, when you're not able to be with somebody, but you really just want the best for them. And you just, it's like someone that you have this like strong attraction to, but like, it's not going to work out. And this is like me just saying, I hope everything is the best for you, and good luck.
Beautiful. All right. When Stars Collide by Katie Ferrara.
Yeah.
But you're too kind. Just how lucky I am to have you. You keep me warm the morning after, when the gold seeps through the windowsill. Now I'm miles and miles away, and I cannot bear to see your face. When there's nothing here to keep the flame burning, I still feel your voice take over me. When stars collide and time stands still, through the darkness I melt with you. When stars collide, one of us will die, but my love for you will always be eternal light. Eternal light.
Wow, that was beautiful as well.
Thank
and
you.
I love the guitar work on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, what kind of guitar do you play?
I have a Martin.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you play mostly acoustic, I meant to ask?
Yeah, I play mostly acoustic guitar. I have a Gretsch guitar. I have a 5120. I'm going to be switching to a Telecaster.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I play a little bit of electric guitar, but mostly acoustic guitar.
Okay.
I love my Martin. I have a Seagull guitar, and I think my favorite guitars. Well, I like Martin and I like Gibson. Those are two of my favorite brands.
Yeah. And do you play multiple guitars when you're in studio?
Yeah, just depending on the song,
Yeah.
like what it needs.
Mhm.
If I want a little bit more low end,
Yeah.
I might play something with a bigger body.
Mhm.
Just depends on the song.
Yeah. And what about pedals? Do you use any pedals?
Oh yeah.
All about the pedals. So
Yeah.
tell us what kind of pedals you're enjoying.
Okay, so I've got two pedals I really like. One is a vocal effects pedal.
Okay.
It's the TC Helicon Play Acoustic. It's a harmonizer pedal and a looper.
Yes.
So it's really cool because it reads the chords on your guitar, and it comes up with the best harmony for your vocal. And you can do like a higher harmony or a lower harmony. You can add echo or like just add some cool effects on your voice. There's all these different settings that you can add depending on the song you'd like. And you can program it for each song. So if say you want like a high harmony on one chorus, you could do a lower one on another one. And then also like loop stuff. I love that. Like if I'm playing solo, like and I need a beat, I'll sometimes like I'll hit the guitar and I'll do like a cool like drumming pattern, just to make it a little bit more dynamic while I'm playing solo. The other pedal I have, it's called the Beat Buddy, and I was in a little ad recently. They flew me out to Florida.
Oh.
And I helped with this promo video for the pedal. And what's really cool about it is that it's electronic beats, and it's for people that like to play on their own. So like I use it a lot for practicing guitar, and I also use it like for covers and stuff. They've got like cajon, they've got like funk and rock beats. They've got so many different types of beats that you can use, and you can actually program them yourself. So I love it like as a songwriting tool to practice with. I've taken it out in the street a couple times. It's complicated because I have like a specific battery that I use. I've got like a couple lithium batteries that I have to like hook up to each pedal. But yeah, I love integrating those with my sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about your street setup. What is your setup when you're on the street?
So yeah, my set, I always have a sign. I think that's really important to have, so people can find you online and they know who you are. I've got my amp, a couple amps that I use. I've got a Crate Limo, and I've got the Mackie Free Play.
Okay.
And I have like my mic. I have my pedals. I have guitar. Sometimes I bring out a ukulele if I want to switch things up a little bit. I have like a tip jar for people to give me tips. I have my CDs. And depending where I go, I might bring merch. You have to be careful about that, because in some places you're not supposed to sell on the street.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But if somebody wants to give you a tip, you can give it away. It's fine. Yeah, I bring and then something for free, like a sticker, or I'll bring my mailing list, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what is your what is your setup when you're performing a gig? How does it differ from your street setup?
When I'm performing a gig, well, I don't have like all my stuff on the stage with me. There's like, if I'm playing a gig, there's usually an area where you can put your merch and your mailing list and all that stuff. On a stage, usually the venue has all the equipment there. When I'm playing on the street, I kind of have to bring any decorations. Like sometimes I'll bring like a rug with me, or flowers, or just stuff to make it like more homey looking. But on a stage, like everything is pretty much there, and the lighting's all accounted for. I think I dress up a little bit more when I'm in a venue as opposed to out in the street.
And do you use different pedals on the street versus when you're performing in a venue?
I use the same ones.
The same ones.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the street's kind of like practice for when I have like a gig in a venue. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's cool to know. Like, I always wonder about that, because I see there's different people set up on the street, and I wonder, do they take that same kit to the stage?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier that you were doing an ad for Beat Buddy, and you also did a contest for...
Oh, it was Toyota.
Yeah. Tell us about that. How did that come to be? Did they find you? Did you find them? Like, how did that whole thing come about?
That was a contest. They usually do it every year. It's called Feeling the Streets, and it's a global search for the best street musicians. I was in season 1, and we had performers from Spain, Colombia, Belgium, Scotland, and then Los Angeles, USA. We were all flown out to New Zealand, and we played at a winter festival in Queenstown. We all had to collaborate with each other. We're all used to playing on our own.
Yeah.
So we were basically thrown together in a bunch of Toyota vans and driven around the country. And as we were driving around and stopping in these beautiful places, we had to come up with songs to play at the festival. So we came up with a song. It was On the Road, and another one. It was like a reggae one. It's been like 2 years since that. But we came up with those, and we got to perform them live at the festival. And I still keep in contact with some of the people in the band. I saw Borja and his girlfriend Suzanne. I saw them in Italy this summer, and then I went up and saw Wojtek. He was the bass player. He's in Scotland. I still keep in touch with Andrew, and then some of the other guys. I just say hi to them on Facebook, I guess.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I love that.
Yeah.
And one question that people always want to know, how do you balance everything as an independent musician? You have to practice, you have to write music, you have to promote, you have to perform. How do you balance it all?
That's a really good question. I've had my ups and downs with balancing my life. I was talking to my aunt the other week, and she was like, you need to have time to relax. Like, you don't relax. So I bought Netflix.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm going to relax by watching movies about music.
I know. Like, I just, I think I try and do a lot of different things. Having, not spending too much time on one thing, and just, knowing how to balance your time is really important because there's so many different aspects. There's the social media part, which you can get lost in. You can spend hours and hours online.
Down the rabbit hole.
And then like making sure you have time to practice too. Like I wasn't practicing a lot. Like in the last few weeks, I would like practice by going to the gig.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I should be practicing before. So, I think it's something that I'm working on. I don't think I'm like the best. I'm not a good example. I do have, I schedule everything. I have a calendar.
Yeah.
And then every day of the week, I write down what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
And then I just try and get everything done within a reasonable amount of time, and also take time off for myself. That's all you can really do, because I think a lot of creativity comes from the times when you're not working, when you're not doing the business side. So you also have to make sure that you're watching Netflix.
Yes, I love that. I love that was your go-to, like Netflix. Okay, I'll do that.
Or going to the park, or going to the beach, going on hikes, getting a massage.
Massage, my favorite.
Self-love,
Yes.
like practice self-love. I think that's very, very, very important.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. This has been an incredible interview. You've shared so much, and I'm just so grateful that you came to spend time with us. Now, if you could just tell everybody how they can stay connected to you, let us know your website and where we can find you on social.
Yeah, so my website is katieferrara.com. Katie is spelled Katie, and Ferrara is spelled F for Frank, ERRARA.com. My social media, I'm on Facebook at Katie Ferrara Music, Instagram at Katie Ferrara Music, Periscope at Katie Ferrara, Twitter, Katie Ferrara. I'm on YouTube as well. Find me online.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank
and
you.
You guys, please make sure you go and follow Katie. She's doing some incredible work both on the street and on the stage. She has great information in her book, Stories from the Street. Make sure you pick it up. And also register to win at guitargoddess.com. Also, her latest CD is The Dreamcatcher, which you heard 2 tracks from today. And then her previous collection was Live from Hotel Cafe. Now, we didn't get to hear that today, but you'll get to hear it on the playlist for the week, so that'll be sent out on the newsletter. So make sure you sign up at guitargoddess.com.
Yeah.
And if you want to stay connected to us, you can find us on social everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, at Guitar Goddess Co. And that's our show for this week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, keep rocking.
You're listening to Guitar Goddess Radio with Ezina, only on LA Talk Radio.